April 24th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by Dream Finders Homes. And now, the world's only two-time recipient of the Mr. Irrelevant Award, J.P. Shadrick.
Hey, welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Dream Finders Homes. 2025 NFL Draft is upon us, just hours away. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, full busy hour ahead. We'll have Tony Boselli in studio coming up. A live report from Green Bay with Brian Sexton. James Gladstone in the draft room. I caught up with him just a little bit earlier. And yes, we will predict some picks tonight. We're on 1010XL, amjaguars.com, Jaguars, YouTube, all the places. J.P. Shadrick with Jeff Lageman and the Executive Vice President of Football Operations, Tony Boselli.
What's up?
You've dressed up for the draft, I see. That's really nice.
Well, I do have clothes I'll change into. I just got a little workout in, so.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Are the nerves there yet? How you feeling? First draft, all the work and all the build-up here.
You know, I'm excited more than anything, just for the opportunity to get in there, and I think I know we're going to be better after this weekend as a football team. But, you know, we've done all the work. We prepared. We put long hours in. The scouts have done a great job. James has been amazing leading our coaching staff, led by Liam, getting in and doing it together. So it's like, at this point, now it's you just kind of wait. And, you know, obviously we pick early, so there's fewer variables to worry about. But then we're going to get into, you know, you get into rounds 2 through 7, you're at the mercy of what happens a little bit before you. So you got to have, you know, you have a plan, but you got to be ready to pivot and kind of be flexible.
So you're saying there's less variables, so you're saying you're not trading back?
As we speak right now, you know, we'll see.
All right, so the whole reason we brought you in here, if you stay at 5,
that's a good catch. That's a good catch, Logs. I should have.
So well, who are you picking?
A good player.
Good.
Yeah, I think, you know, he'll be a good football player. Listen, I think, you know, you look at the team and what we've done in free agency was purposeful. One, we wanted to raise the floor, but we also wanted to fill some gaps with guys who we were confident could come in and start day one. And so that we weren't going to be forced to do anything when we got into the draft. So because of that, we feel really comfortable with our options. We've obviously targeted a handful of players each round because we picked 5 today. And, you know, as far as trading down, that's going to be, you know, continuing to evolve as, you know, as we have conversations and kind of see what's available. It has to be the right. You don't just trade down to trade down. You have to have a couple things. One, a willing partner. The compensation has to make sense for us. And then we want to make sure there's a guy we like in the first round wherever we land. And so we'll evaluate everything, but we feel pretty comfortable where we're at right now.
What has it been like to really understand from really an intimate perspective of what intangibly rich really means?
Well, you know, Jeff, you and I watch tape all the time. And in the past, you probably actually watched a little bit more than me getting ready for the draft. But we'd watch tape, and all you have to go by is what's on film. Because we're not, back when we were doing radio and when I was doing what you guys do, it's not like you're diving into the character and the background information. We don't have that information available to us. But if you think back, Jeff, to when we played, it wasn't always the biggest, strongest, fastest guys who are the best football players.
Right.
There's more than just physical attributes. It's the competitive nature of the individual. It's the football instincts. It's the, you know, the love of the game, like love and ball. You know, all these things going in. It's how they learn. It's
intelligence.
Their intelligence.
Yeah.
How much can they comprehend? How do they process information? So these are all kind of what you'd say in, you know, watching film, you can evaluate some of that stuff. You can see their play demeanor. If a guy's finishing blocks or finishing plays or chasing and pursuing, you can see that competitiveness there. But then it's taught, you know, our scouts have done a great job and always have of talking to the coaches, the strength coach, the equipment coach, their high school coaches, who they're with. So that's kind of what builds that overall profile. And ultimately, we just want good football players.
Tony Boselli with us. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube closing in on round 1 of the NFL draft. How do you know beyond the tape if a guy loves ball?
Well,
How do you find that out? Especially in this day and age with college and the NIL and things, the landscape has changed for prospects.
it's much more difficult. There's no doubt about it, because you can't just go to the one university. When Jeff and I played, I mean, he went to Virginia, I went to USC, so it was a single place the scouts can go to and say, tell me about this individual. What's his work ethic like? What are they like in the weight room? How do they practice? And so these are all kind of clues you can kind of understand what the competitive nature of the individual is. It's the same thing today, but now it's multiple colleges, it's multiple phone calls, multiple touch points. And sometimes you got to be careful, because you might hear one thing about a guy at his first school. He transfers and he's only with this other school for one season, a very short window. And they have glowing reviews. So is that really who he is?
Right.
Or is he putting on an act because it's a short window and he's auditioning for a job? I mean, these are all the nuances that we go through and try to do the best we can to understand who the individual is.
Now, in the past, you would always see coaches and players that were at one program. The coaches are trying to get those players drafted as high as they possibly can, because it further sells the program that they're trying to build.
Yeah.
I would think that having a player having experience at a couple different places, you probably get a little bit more of an honest perspective.
Well, you get a whole rounded
to
out
some
view.
extent.
Yeah, and Jeff, it's a great point. I mean, we want to hear from the head coaches. There's no doubt about that. But yes, also have to be realistic. These guys are selling the program to the next recruits coming.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you want to do as a head coach is badmouth
You're not going to do
one
it.
of your players, because the next guy's coming up. They hear about that, and that's not.
Well, and it doesn't get that player drafted higher. The higher you get a
That's
player
right.
drafted, the better exposure your program gets.
And so, and anyone who's been involved in football also understands, go talk to the trainers. Go talk to the weight coach. Go talk to the equipment coach. Talk to the support staff that spend a lot of time with us as players.
Option
and they'll
three.
they'll give you a pretty good view of who the individual is.
I would be in contact with every equipment staff member,
Without a
of
doubt.
every player that I was thinking about drafting.
Yeah, sure.
They know all the intimate details
That's right.
of said players.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Tony Boselli with us on Jaguars Happy Hour. Give us your behind the scenes, as much as you can, look at James Gladstone and the process he's put together to get to this point. How impressive is it? What stands out the most about his efficiency, his mindset, his operation as a whole?
I'll just give you my perspective in all kind of three areas. I was convicted that he was the right choice when we hired him right before the combine. I am more convicted now after working with him. His communication ability is uncanny, of how he can take in a lot of information from a lot of different sources and kind of correlate and synthesize all that information and then communicate it to the right stakeholders and make decisions from it. And then the last thing, he's a killer. I mean, don't underestimate James Gladstone. I mean, he is very good at what he does. He's very focused, understands it, and throughout the process has done a great job of jumping into the middle of the situation and bringing everyone together to make sure he's getting all the right information that we can get to the right decision.
And number two, you brought up the communicator.
It's unreal.
I mean, our opportunity that we get obviously is not as wide as the perspective that you get, but listening to him talk, it's impressive. And what I love hearing is that you referred to him as a killer.
Yeah.
Because look, the reality is in that line of work, you've got to be confident and unwavering in your commitment to your beliefs and understanding of players that you're going to be picking. And if you're not, then you're just going to get beat up and tossed aside and get eaten up.
Yeah, and just to go a step further, what I mean by killer, because people are like, what do you mean? He's a GM. It's not like he's out there on the field like
Yeah, he's not beating guys
up or anything. I'm not talking about the physical side of it. He's very good at his job. And part of that, and this is what we did when we went through the interview process, and I'm glad it's worked out. We're still in the early stages, so we got a long way to go. We'll hit adversity, and I think we'll even see it more at that time. But I wanted to make sure, and so did Liam, that we got that the individual that was going to be the GM that was going to partner with us, because Liam and I talked about this a lot. No ego, not ego-driven, and not a personal hidden agenda. Because those two things kill an organization. And when I say there's none of that, and there's a lot of humility combined with that attitude that he's just fearless. He is not afraid to make tough decisions and big decisions. And that's what I say to Killer. He's unwavering. And then the last thing that I enjoy, because we have to come to work here. And leading up to draft, it's long hours. My favorite part about this job, outside of I get to work at this organization and do football, I get to work with two really good dudes. Like Liam and James are just good dudes. At the end of the day, and Jeff knows this being a locker room, you want the locker room filled with a bunch of good dudes, because then you'll figure it out. As long as they're competitive, love ball, and they're good dudes, you can get through about anything, and that's been probably the most fun of the process.
And you can't build culture unless you got good dudes doing it.
Right.
It's just fact.
Because if you think about culture is all that really is at the end of the day, and we use different words, and those are important. The words are important. It's what we live out every day in the building. And it starts with leadership. What is leadership living every day? Because that gets filtered through the whole building, and then that's just who we are. And so that's what we're trying to build. And we've had, free agency. We got the draft. We were on the field this week. That was fun with the voluntary minicamp, veteran minicamp. Great to see the guys out there competing. And it's one step at a time, but ultimately, you guys know this, none of us are going to be judged until September.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll find out.
When the ball's on the tee week one.
Exactly right.
This could be obviously a youth movement for the Jaguars, right? 10 draft picks. There's a lot of room on this roster right now, Tony.
We have 59 signed players. That is the least in the NFL. I'll put it this way, during veteran minicamp, we had scouts and coaches playing scout team.
What were you playing?
No. You have to actually be able to run, JP.
Oh, that, yeah.
And we are wildly comfortable with that. We're going to get 10 draft picks over the next 3 days. We are going to go target and try to get approximately 20 undrafted free agents. And then we'll see if we fill out the rest of the spots with a couple other veteran free agents that are still out there. But what you're going to have come training camp, when we're all sitting watching together, as Liam and our players and our coaching staff are out there working, you are going to see a competitive environment, because jobs are wide open. Come grab one, and we're going to have a bunch of young guys who are hungry and fighting for a spot on the roster.
You bring up the roster composition of the number right now, 59. A lot of people, I think, don't understand is that a lot of times you kind of really have there's multiple tiers of free agency, but you have a second phase of free agency, which typically happens after the draft.
That's right.
And teams wait to see what they draft to see what they need to plug in. I'm sure that's the approach there.
We'll look at things. We have some good ideas. I mean, we have like I said at the beginning, we have a plan of what we're going to target, what we're going to go after in each round. But let's say we miss. Let's say we don't get some of the guys we want at certain positions. Obviously, there's a number of still good players out there that have played and started games in this league, and we'll do what we need to round out the roster. But expect a lot of young guys running around here come 2 weeks from now when rookie minicamp starts.
All right, so big question here. I think every NFL team, for the most part, that has been asked this. So is there any interest in Aaron Rodgers?
Less than zero.
Wow.
Less than zero.
I had to ask you that.
You heard it here first.
I can confidently say we are not going down that path. Not going down that path. We feel pretty good about our quarterback, and it was good to see him out there throwing. Shoulder's coming along good, his left shoulder, the rehab. He's been working his tail off, and we're excited about what he can do.
How about I guess, how do you say this? The immersion in the new offense. I mean, it's got to be a challenge. I mean, it's a system 3 for him, and look, he's a bright guy. But how is that going?
Well, he's very bright, and he's a very hard worker. And so that combination, he'll be fine. And Grant Udinski, our offensive coordinator, is doing a great job. And we have a really good staff. And I think one of the several smart things that Liam did when he built the staff, he brought guys in here that he either worked with or had worked in the same system with the same language that he had. So it wasn't we're onboarding a whole offensive staff and our quarterback. And then we brought in Nick Mullins, who comes from the system, Johnny Wolford, who was in Tampa out of that system, and at the Rams out of that system. And so what we've purposely done is surrounded Trevor with a lot of guys who understand to accelerate that. That combined with his work ethic and his intelligence, I'm not worried about it at all.
Good. Tony Boselli, Executive Vice President, Football Operations. Welcome back to TV Land.
Yeah, it's good to be back on. How's it been going? Good?
Good.
Actually, better than before.
Good. Except for you're kind of leaving me to hang, for the draft show that we've got tonight. So
It's a long night.
You got to come over.
It's a long night. Yeah, where are you guys doing that tonight?
We're doing the radio studio.
The podcast.
I'll jump down there and come say hi to you guys after the pick and
Need a little help.
Chop it up a little bit. Who do you? I've been asking everyone. I did some stuff with Brent earlier in Austin, and who do you guys want at 5?
Give me Genty.
Genty?
Running back, yeah. Explosive, 5'8.5", hard to tackle.
Well, reminds you a little bit watching of Maurice Jones-Drew.
No, not as wide as Maurice.
No, but bounces off.
Vision.
A little better vision, but people, if you remember Maurice coming out of UCLA, people would bounce off of it.
Right.
And similar
He's
to
really
Genty.
strong.
Yeah, Genty's a powerful.
What do you think, Logs?
Wide receiver Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Well, everybody wants him.
Wide receiver.
He ain't getting a 5. So
Well, I mean, they might have to move up a little bit.
oh, that's it. That easy.
We'll bring Jeff down and let him talk to
Just
James.
go make the pick, Jeff. Go ahead. Tony, thanks, man.
Hey,
Appreciate
thanks for
you.
having me.
Yeah, Tony
It's gonna be
Boselli.
a fun night, guys.
It should be. And when you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. They've been trusted by their customers for over 40 years. Trust them to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Brian Sexton from Green Bay when we return. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining Built Ford Tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, Built Ford Tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Hi, my name is Charlie Jordan, and I'm the manager of social media for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So as manager of social media, we serve as a bridge between the fans and the franchise. And so my passion is rooted in being a fan, but I also get to work with the team each day. The Bright Future Scholarship was huge for me because I was able to pursue an education at the University of Florida. And because I didn't have to worry about paying for classes, I could spend my time covering the sports teams that I work around. I'm extremely grateful for the Bright Future Scholarship and the Florida Lottery specifically for allowing me to earn an education.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
It don't faze me, I was always under the light, so it don't change nothing about me. The questions don't really do anything to me. I know how to get through the questions. I know how to answer them. So.
That is Travis Hunter from Colorado, wide receiver and cornerback at the NFL draft yesterday. Community events in the Green Bay area and some of the prospects making their way around town yesterday, all getting ready for the big night at Draft Central outside Lambeau Field, the not-so-frozen tundra here at the end of April. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We're at the Miller Electric Center just down the hall from the draft room where the Jaguars leadership will make the pick at number 5, maybe. We'll see what happens tonight. Brian Sexton is in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and he joins us now live from Draft Central. How you feeling? What's the scene? Looks like there's a lot of fans starting to file into Green Bay.
Listen, if you see me do this, it means I'm about to get run over because we're in the middle of the parking lot, which seemed like a great spot to set up about an hour ago. But all of a sudden, there's just been this deluge of folks that come through with either something to say or maybe just sort of a threatening approach. It's a live and active crowd, guys. I don't feel in danger, but let's put it this way. I feel like I could get knocked down by somebody who's a little too boisterous.
All right, so Brian, many people did not expect Green Bay to be hosting a draft of all places. Where is everybody staying in Green Bay? I don't know if there's enough hotel rooms to fit everybody. Are they renting every house out in Green Bay now?
This kind of feels a little bit like when Jacksonville hosted the Super Bowl 20 years ago. They had to come up with alternative plans, right? So we brought in cruise ships. They haven't quite done that. I'm told that there are a lot of folks that jumped onto Airbnb. We're staying in Appleton, which is about a half an hour from here. There's a lot of folks who are staying north up towards Michigan and plenty more that are driving in from Milwaukee. It doesn't have the infrastructure, and so they're not expecting the turnout like they had in Detroit last year. There was upwards of 750,000 people who attended the 3 days of the draft at Cadillac Square in Detroit. They're expecting about 250,000. It's narrow. There's not a lot of places to park. They're doing their best, and they've got this whole Titletown thing going, so that's pretty good.
Brian Sexton joining us from just outside Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The 2025 NFL Draft coming up a little after 8 o'clock tonight is the first round. All right, so we heard from Travis Hunter there. We'll hear from some more prospects coming up throughout this evening. You caught up with a bunch of those guys yesterday. What stood out the most about some of your conversations?
Well, so Ted McMillan was the funniest because I asked him, the receiver from Arizona, have you heard from the Jaguars? And his response was, nobody's heard from the Jaguars. Am I tripping? Has anybody talked to the Jaguars? And, of course, we knew that they weren't doing their 30-visit routine this year. But I was just curious if in any way, shape, or form he had made contact. He said no. I asked Ashton Genty about being born in Jacksonville and the potential of coming home. And he smiled and said Duval. He knew about the history with Fred and the comparisons to Maurice Jones-Drew. Travis Hunter was great. I asked him point blank, what position are you playing? He said both. I said, you're holding on to that. He goes, why shouldn't I? And Mason Graham was quiet. Lots of 2- and 3-word answers. But Logs, he had the biggest forearms. He made Tyson Alualu look small with just the dimension from his elbow to his wrist. So strong, powerful, fit that he was a heavyweight wrestling champion in the state of California. They were all interesting, all good guys. Which is what everyone's looking for. They're looking for good guys. I heard Tony on with you. They're looking for good dudes in the locker room, and all of those guys were good dudes.
Yeah, I think Mason Graham, you're talking about the intangibles are way, way, way high. But I don't know if there's any intangibles that are higher than with Travis Hunter, Brian. The more you read about this guy, the more you get impressed with him. He's just an outstanding individual on top of being an outstanding wide receiver and defensive back.
Well, yeah, to your point, Jeff, we were talking with him, and he talked about being a better corner, a better wide receiver. He said he was really more focused on being a better husband, which I thought was a great line for him. He's married to his high school sweetheart. You probably saw the story in The Athletic that he loves to bass fish, is a very competitive bass fisherman. He's just a really good guy and has a great head on his shoulders. He was asked about his father, who's under house arrest or confinement of some sort, being allowed to come to the draft, and he said, the only thing I can say is it's a blessing to know that my dad's going to get a share this night with me. Just a really grounded guy. And I guess I was surprised, Jeff and JP, because he's around Deion Sanders. You just would figure he'd be this flamboyant character, two-way player, the best player in the draft. No way. I mean, he was humble, he was confident, but he was just a normal guy. Man, if they would make a move up for him, I'd be really excited about that. And listen, if they take Genty at 5, he was a million megawatt smile, carried on a great conversation, could just effortlessly move between reporters and questions. And a young man came up and wanted to take a picture, and he said, hold on, and he stepped out. These guys that the Jaguars are considering at the top of the draft, or I should say are reportedly considering at the top of the draft, are first-class human beings from my limited interaction with them yesterday at the Play 60 event.
Brian, one of the things that's kind of been newsworthy about the first-round picks that potentially will be picked tonight is that the number kind of dwindled a little bit. I think the NFL started out with the hopes of getting 30 players maybe there, and I think the number's down to about 15. So you probably got an opportunity to talk to everyone that was there.
Well, listen, I was on my way to talking to everyone, and all of a sudden it started raining, and we had to go running for the car. So I only got to talk to those few guys. But, there was only one offensive lineman, Will Campbell. There were a few defensive linemen. The draft has become a spread-out affair, and guys throw their own parties and have their own, YouTube channels lined up. And so you don't have that centralization they had when you were drafted and everybody was in New York. There are some rumblings around here that in future years they'll work to get a couple of the big names from the second round on for Friday night so that they've got more players here. But more and more of the top players, although, again, the top players, the big three that you've talked about, Hunter, Carter, and Genty, are all here. Cam Ward is here. Will Campbell is here. There are some big names here, but there's just not many of them.
And you can tell that the Green Bay locals don't have much experience with TV, Brian. They're all dancing around behind you in the background.
Listen, I told you, the guy came by earlier, and I thought he was going to knock me over. He wanted to get in front of the camera so bad. I've never felt that way, but I'm like, there's a sniper on the roof. I'm looking at him right now, and I want to just do one of these. You got my back? Because I can't see what's going on behind me.
Don't keep pointing up there. Just stop the pointing up there, Brian.
Well, God, I don't want his attention either. But
No.
Listen, overall, this is a great environment. They have so much here, and the Jaguars haven't played a regular game. They were here in 2020, Logs, but we weren't traveling back then. This place has changed so dramatically since 2012 when Blaine Gabbert had his only 300-yard passing day as a Jaguars quarterback. I mean, there's so much that's been built up around here. Titletown is an office complex with condos and all sorts of recreational opportunities. There's more restaurants and hotels around here. Not Four Seasons hotels, the Hampton Inn, right? But there's a lot around here these days.
All right, Brian. So
it's a cool place.
Last question for me, because when we were in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, going way back to the Jaguars' first training camp ever. Okay, one of the musts that you absolutely had to do when you were in Wisconsin, especially around Green Bay, you had to have an order of curds and a pitcher or a glass frosty mug of Point beer. Have you done that yet?
Yep. I will never touch a cheese curd. I don't care who orders it. I will never, ever touch it, smell it, taste it. But the Point beer might have been on tap last night. And I have fond memories of our nearly 6 weeks in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. For those of us that were on staff that showed up a little earlier than the union representative who refused to show up one day early.
Plead the fifth.
Oh, that was you.
That's right.
I know. But listen, lots of great memories. But you know what's funny is nobody here remembers the Cheese League. It's gone. It was that brief moment with the Bears and the Chiefs and the Saints. And, hey, thanks. Appreciate your participation in our show. Right? You see the crap I'm dealing with out here? But listen, I'll take it for the team for happy hour.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We just do the rest of the show like this. Let Brian do it from Green Bay.
Hey, listen, who do you want me to talk to, right? The next guy that comes by is going to get it.
Hey, there's the lady. All right, final thought. We'll get you out of here before you get heckled anymore. Who do you want? Who do you think they're going to pick?
By the way, some of the wacky weed is... Oh, who do I want? There's a guy over here who's burning something he shouldn't be burning. Yeah. Then that's probably why I'm distracted all of a sudden. So I think Ashton Jeanty makes the most sense. I've said this. They need touchdown scorers, Jeff. They have to have touchdown scorers. You know, you lost Christian Kirk. You don't have Evan Ingram anymore. You don't have the production guaranteed from ETN. I think Jeanty makes a whole lot of sense, and I like him a lot. If you want to go up, great. If you want to go back, fine. But I like Jeanty at 5.
All right, Brian.
It's hard to argue
you
that.
You need some more entertainment here? Listen, there's a lot going on. If you want me to find more entertainment for you, I'll find it.
I mean, it sounds like people are having a really good time there in Green Bay.
They
Brian,
are.
Have a great night.
It's about to get spicy here.
Yeah, we'll look forward to your reporting throughout the evening. We'll see you back here when you get home. Brian Sexton joining us from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Boy, what a scene there ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. Jaguars football is presented by Fresh from Florida. It's always in season. We'll come back in a moment and hear from James Gladstone. I caught up with him in the draft room just a little bit earlier today. Ahead of the NFL Draft, it's Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game. The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
What's the best part about lawn care during the winter? You can give it a rest. Lawns only need watering up to once a week. Really, that's it. Using less water means you're saving time and money that you can put towards something else. Before you run your sprinklers, remember, give it a rest and only water up to once a week. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com. Sims Crane and Equipment is the Southeast premier crane rental company since 1959, serving Florida, Georgia, and Alabama with cranes up to 800 ton for all of your heavy lifting needs. Sims Crane is the Tadano rough terrain crane dealer for the state of Florida. Inspired by the past, committed to the future. Choose Sims Crane and Equipment for all of your heavy lifting needs. Sims Crane is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Plumbing problem? Septic emergency? HVAC system not doing its job? Don't panic. Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. From leaks, clogged drains to septic installations and air conditioning repairs, we've got the tools and expertise to get it done right. Dial 904-862-6769 now and let our friendly team handle the dirty work so you don't have to. Remember, when you're stuck, call the Duck.
Welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. Plenty coming up ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. It begins at 8 o'clock. We've got about 30 minutes or so left on this program. And the draft, of course, starts tonight. It's time to celebrate the 5th overall pick with a newly released draft cap. You can secure one of the limited edition hats in person at the Pro Shop or head to shop.jaguars.com and get your exclusive draft cap today. We're on 1010XL, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, and it's Jaguars Happy Hour. And as is tradition on draft day, you catch up with the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This time, first-year general manager James Gladstone in the draft room about an hour ago. JP Shadrick in the draft room with GM James Gladstone. First draft as a general manager. What are your feelings? Is there anxiety, nerves? How are you feeling just with only a couple hours to go?
You know, I got to say, with all the work that's been done to date, all the collaboration across our coaching staff and scouting staff, feel firm in our plan heading into tonight. And got to say, it hasn't felt, in terms of sensation, all that much different than any draft previously. You know, you got everything sort of in the hopper and feel like you just fall back on what you had planned for and go from there. So we're looking forward to what unfolds, but obviously it won't take long for us to be on the clock, and we're looking forward to pressing send there and making the call.
Take us through your day so far, from the wake up to the morning prep to get to this point.
Yeah, you know, it's been low key. It hasn't been all that different from my normal routine. Woke up at the same time, got here at the facility fairly early, and headed out to the field for a few laps before taking some calls to just tie up a few loose ends, and have since been just chewing on the same thoughts that have seemingly been circling for quite a few weeks now.
What's on your final checklist now? What do you lean on when the clock starts? And take us a little bit, if you can, through your process when time is of the essence.
Yeah, you know, this first pick is going to be a little different than the next 9. Obviously, we have some version of a controlled environment, knowing that there's only 4 selections ahead of us. And beyond that, I think what we'll lean into is a lot of the same things that I think we've preached over the last 8 weeks. And really, that's about focusing on players who are intangibly rich. And so that'll be top of mind at each pick point, and really the decisions that we'll make with each of the 9 picks that lie beyond tonight, we'll be sure to lean into that and keep that as our North Star.
We all see rumors. Do you follow the TV coverage of draft and all the rumors, draft day things that may or may not happen? And how busy has it been on the phones with the Jaguars?
Well, yeah, I think I've got a pulse for what has seemingly been pushed out, which seems like every single scenario on planet Earth, which is exciting, entertaining. I mean, that's the business that we're in, and I think at pick number 5, we'll see some fireworks one way or another.
James, good luck to you. Appreciate the time.
I appreciate it as well. Game on.
Oh, game on, Logs. James Gladstone, the general manager. Could see some fireworks one way or another. That's what you like to hear, right?
Well, that's that killer mentality that Tony Boselli was talking about here a little bit ago. You know, I love listening to him talk. Very seamless. I mean, he should have considered a job in broadcasting.
Right.
I mean, he's quick on his feet. He's very direct and doesn't have any kind of a catchword to kind of gather a thought. I mean, he's just impressive. And look, part of being a leader also is being a great communicator. And Tony's dead on the money about that aspect of him. It's fun to watch.
There is a fascinating article in The Athletic that just came out recently about his rise through the Rams organization and now his step forward as a general manager and some of the processes he's used to get to this point. That's kind of what I was trying to get out of him there a little bit, was some of the behind-the-scenes data things that he'll use. Now, in the past year, we've seen a draft room with, 30 people in there and ringing the room and all that. I don't know if we'll have that this year with James, and he'll have access to people close by. It's going to be a select few that are actually right there, I believe.
Yeah, I think it kind of focuses the room, I think, in a lot of different ways. If I would probably do something similar if I were ever in James's shoes, just because you don't want to have a whole lot of things that are in moving parts, et cetera. But everything he's done to date has been very impressive so far. But this day, today, is the start of the lifeblood of this franchise. The reality is that the organization has not drafted very well in the past, and that's a fact. And the fact is shown in the record that this team has had, and that needs to change. And how it changes is that you bring better players into the organization. James Gladstone is the key to this whole thing. He is. He's the key to this whole success of this organization going forward, and it starts today with him. It started in free agency a little bit, but this is the meat and this is the potatoes of any organization. Today, tomorrow, and the next day.
It's pretty fascinating that you come in as a new GM, but you inherit the scouting staff. You don't bring, there's been a couple of additions, right? The big change addition a lot of times happens after the draft. So he's inherited scouting staff and personnel staff and has, from all accounts, enjoyed that process. They've done a good job in figuring out how he wants to communicate and work, and that's got to be a difficult transition. I mean, you come in and all of a sudden the staff's already in place.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I would probably have a very difficult kind of time of trusting people, right? I mean, because look, there's a lot of holdovers from the Trent Baalke general manager era. And, from what I understand, James has been very open and honest and has worked with everybody, and that's amazing. But I'm sure, just like anybody else would do, that there will be changes within the staff in and around James Gladstone's room, and as it should be. Because as a general manager, you want to make sure that you have voices that you trust and also ears that you can trust.
Tonight, it's the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft, an 8 o'clock start time. And we'll come back in just a moment. We'll have John Oehser, Jaguars.com senior writer. He'll join us on set, and we're going to make some picks. We kind of already have, Logs.
Haven't we?
We kind of have.
I'm sticking with mine.
Okay, well, don't ruin it now. We'll come back. If you've just joined us, Logs is going to make another pick. But it's probably the same pick. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dream Finders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dream Finders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dream Finders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamFindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, I'm Logan Cook, punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Driving distracted or stolen is dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for everyone on the road around you. Ride with Do Not Disturb. That call, text, or social media message can wait. Choose your music before you turn on the ignition. Anytime your eyes are not on the road ahead, you're distracted, so pay attention. But remember, drive high equals DUI. Plan ahead, have a designated driver, keep a clear head to see clear ahead, and let's get everyone home safely.
Hi, my name is Charlie Jordan, and I'm the manager of social media for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So as manager of social media, we serve as a bridge between the fans and the franchise. And so my passion is rooted in being a fan, but I also get to work with the team each day. The Bright Future Scholarship was huge for me because I was able to pursue an education at the University of Florida. And because I didn't have to worry about paying for classes, I could spend my time covering the sports teams that I work around. I'm extremely grateful for the Bright Future Scholarship and the Florida Lottery specifically for allowing me to earn an education.
For 48 straight years, Ford F-Series have been the best-selling trucks in America. We got here by engineering breakthrough technology, redefining built Ford tough, and never settling for second best. But what's really made Ford F-Series the #1 selling trucks in America is you. Ford F-Series, built Ford tough. Based on 1977 to 2024 calendar year total sales.
Anytime somebody's excelling on the level, the highest level in the football league for sure, but I also think we can't overlook also guys in college football are doing amazing things. Also in the NFL, there's a lot of other great running backs now. Is he the #1 guy leading that? For sure, yeah.
That is Ashton Jeanty, the running back from Boise State and the Heisman Trophy runner-up last year, only a little over 200 points behind Travis Hunter in the Heisman voting. Massive season a year ago, 5'8", 211, tough to tackle. We'll see if he's there at 5, if he's the pick or not. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. John Oehser joining us in the studio now. Hi, John.
I like the dramatic pause there, when you're bringing me in. So it's draft night. I mean, it's we've been through a lot of these, and I think as James Gladstone said a couple weeks ago, when you're picking number 5 and it's the first pick of a new regime, it's a tone setter. So this is a big night, and I think overall, Jeff, it's a big weekend for me to see sort of what a James Gladstone draft looks like. He does things differently. I'm curious to see what all this looks like by the end of Saturday.
Yeah, and I think all 3 days are really tone setters. I mean, look, you're adding 10, that's the number you're at now, prospects to your roster. And by the way, JP, you kind of shortchanged Jenny a little bit.
What's that?
5'9", 215. And when you're 5'9", okay, and you get called to be 5'8", that probably.
He's 5'8.5".
Yeah, he's
5'8.5".
5'9".
You're rounding up. Okay,
but he's a roundup guy.
Okay,
you got to round up for.
Okay,
but I will say just real quick about Jenny. Watching the film with this guy, it's amazing to watch him and how powerful he is. And the one area that the Jacksonville Jaguars have great history with is the running back position. Fred Taylor, Maurice Jones-Drew, and how fitting would it be to have a guy like Jenny to follow up from those two?
Well, if it's at 5, he's got to be at that level, right, to be a successful pick, John.
Yeah, let's make no mistake. If you take a running back at 5, I called this morning, Leonard Fournette, a mistake pick. And I like Leonard, but when you take a guy at 4 and he's not a franchise-defining guy, all-pro guy at that position, then it didn't work. So if you're going to take that position that high, really any position in the top 5, but especially running back when you're going there and saying, okay, this may be a 5 or 6, 7 year peak person, it's got to be Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley level production, AP. That's what you're expecting. So that's, whether they say it or not tonight, if you take a running back at 5, that's what you're thinking it's going to be.
The position has been devalued, over the years. And people are saying, well, you can't use high draft capital anymore to draft a running back. But if you listen to Liam Cohen talking about helping Trevor out, what's the one thing that he's talked about all offseason?
Right.
It's getting a running game and better up front around him. And look, want to get a better running game? Bam! Jenny right now, number 2, gives you an instant running game. I don't think there's any doubt on that.
And the position has been devalued, and that's a big theme. It's always a big pre-draft theme now. Hall of Famers haven't been devalued. So you're and when I say Hall of Famers, I mean with Derrick Henry, the guys we just mentioned, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, those are Hall of Fame level talent. Fred Taylor, Hall of Fame level talent. That level of talent at that position hasn't been devalued. So that would be the counter argument to the devalued position.
Well, and it's kind of interesting to see all of the draft talk kind of over the last 6 weeks and where it's been with Jenny. I mean, there were so many different people that were forecasting him going to Chicago. And then all of a sudden, here recently, now some people are picking that he may come here to the Jacksonville Jaguars. You know, and it's interesting too, because if you look at what's the common theme with Chicago and the Jaguars, they have a very young quarterback that really hasn't shown that he's going to be an elite player yet. And so both teams may be looking to get a running back to help out these young quarterbacks. And he's a really good one. I said this to you, JP, and Brian Sexton, I think, last week. And I said that, you know, there's 3 great players in this draft. And I'm just talking just from watching film that are head and shoulders above everybody else.
They are?
And that's Jenny, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter. Those 3 guys are just ridiculously at high levels. I mean, they're so separate from everybody else. And at the top, and Cam Ward's not even in that category, not even close. But those 3 guys, I think, are just, and the future may say that there's more than just those 3, and maybe even not one of those 3. But I think right now, in my opinion, watching the film, those 3 guys are it.
Yeah, and when people ask JP, well, when is it okay to take a back in the top 5? It's when what Jeff said is true. Meaning, if that back is one of 3 great players in the draft, and there's another quarterback in there, and maybe some team thinks offensive lineman, that's the scenario where it's okay, because any GM, you know, why did the Eagles win the Super Bowl last year? Because they had a bunch of players who were really, really, really good. How many really, really, really good players do the Jaguars have right now?
Not enough.
BTJ and a couple, you know. So if you're adding that to your group, then that's when top 5 running back makes sense.
John Oehser with us. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Just a few minutes to go here. This is the latest that we've been to an NFL draft where every team has their original pick in the draft. I think it was 93 when the Chiefs and the Niners made the deal for Joe Montana and traded picks and such just a few days before the draft. That was previously the latest it had gone. But even the years before this draft, everybody still has their picks. It's an oddity. We'll see how long it lasts, I guess, tonight. It feels like, you know, with the top 4 kind of there, the Jaguars might be that fulcrum point in this first round tonight. John,
yeah, it could be.
Well, it's good that you said the thing about the trades now, because I think by 8:45 or so, it's going to be. I think there'll be a lot of trades once it starts. I think you got a little momentum, Jeff, of, okay, well, once teams hadn't traded by a couple of weeks ago, then you wait and see what Tennessee does, and then other teams can start talking about it. My guess is there's been a lot of calls around the league where the button's ready to be pushed as soon as you're on the clock. So I think that would change.
Yeah, a lot of groundwork probably already been done, but John's right. I think once Cam Ward goes number 1 to Tennessee, then I think then the phones are going to start ringing after the top 5 happen, because the next 2 quarterbacks, which is obviously going to be a big part of that conversation about who trades and who doesn't, where those guys end up fitting, I think it's going to be very interesting, because, you know, for a long time people just thought that the trade was going to be mainly around Shadrick Sanders. But Jackson Dart is now in the conversation as to moving up into the top half of the first round, which could make that even more interesting.
Quarterbacks always figure out a way to get up there.
It's fascinating how that works. I mean, that's all the media we've been seeing the last couple days is on Jackson Dart. But, I mean, I'm going to guess that boards have had him up there the whole time. Like, they don't change their board this late in the process.
That's a huge dynamic in the draft, too, is the media sort of hops into this on an increasing level after about the combine. So a lot of players whose stock is rising, it's because a GM finally told somebody in the media, hey, this guy's pretty good too. Oh, now his stock's rising.
Exactly.
So and I think that's what happened with Genti, frankly. I think a lot of NFL people knew that this kid was special. Everybody assumed the back wouldn't get taken that high. So then once it starts sort of fleshing itself out, everybody realized, oh, there's only 3 guys. This guy should be up there. So some of that's finding out the information later.
And the other thing I think that's going to be fun to watch tonight, aside from the top of the draft and the quarterbacks and Jenny and what the Jaguars do, for me, just an interesting standpoint, this football team here in Jacksonville needs offensive linemen. Okay, so what happens in the first round with all of these tackles there's a lot of them that have a first round grade. And so I'm going to be watching this first round with an eye on what can the Jaguars do in round 2 and who goes undrafted in round 1 to give this football team options at a position of need, which is offensive line.
John, you always say it. You've been saying it for months. If you're going to rebuild the offensive line, you better start drafting offensive linemen high.
Yeah, and I think that's the dilemma when you're talking about Genty or you're talking about offensive skill player high. I do believe that at some point the Eagles, right, all those years where they invested in it, and it's not a sexy pick, and your fans kind of go, oh, okay, well, it's fine. But at some point, you have to sacrifice some next day pop to get that on one side of the ball or the other. If you're going to be a line-centric team, you got to start taking them early. But I don't think they're going to be line-centric tonight.
And I would add one thing here that you made about the Eagles, right? The Eagles have drafted so well over the years, and that's the key of this whole thing. You've got to be able to stack good draft after good draft after good draft. I'm talking consistently good drafts to build a franchise. If you can do that, then you can be where the Eagles are. You know, and look, they're winning Super Bowls without a truly, truly elite quarterback, I think, as passer. Now, he's got his great traits and special characteristics in his own right.
Yes.
But the talent, the overall talent of that Eagles team is what has carried that football team to where they are today. And you hope that James Gladstone leads this team in that direction going forward.
In James you trust, right, JP?
Yes, we do, and that begins tonight. Final couple minutes here, guys. So, John, let's get your pick. If the Jags are at 5, what do they like?
Yeah, look, I think there's guys out of their reach at 5 that they love. I think Carter and Hunter, who I don't think will be there at 5, if they could get those guys, boy, I think they'd love them. I don't know if it's going to be too expensive. There's reports out there about all kinds of different things. The expense to move up, I just wonder about. So I'm going to go Genty if they stick at 5.
Logs?
Oh, goodness.
We went through this
5?
We went through this earlier. We know what you want.
I wanted to trade up to get Travis
Hunter. But if they're at 5.
I want a lot of things, Jeff.
Yeah.
I know. Look, I love Jenny. Like I said, I think he's one of the 3 elite players in this draft, and I think that you can't go wrong there. But I will say this, Mason Graham, Banks, the tackle out of Texas, there's a lot of great players in this draft, and I think that it's going to be hard to mess this 5th overall pick up.
Hey,
is that a pick?
I don't know. There was a long scenic route to a pick.
I said Jenny.
Yeah.
Okay. But look, I like Mason Graham.
Yeah.
And I like Banks, the tackle from Texas. And all 3 of those guys are worthy at 5. But the truly elite player, again, like I said, Hunter, Carter, and then, of course, Jenny, those 3 are the elites in this draft.
We'll see what happens ahead of the Jaguars tonight. It's an 8 o'clock start time. We're going to have pre-draft coverage. Our pre-show is at 7:30. It's at Jaguars.com. All the Jaguars social media channels, including Facebook and X tonight. We'll also be on Jaguars YouTube this evening. So check that out, 7:30, for some final thoughts leading into the NFL draft. And we'll also have Bucky Brooks on that show coming up tonight as well. John, you're going to have writing all night and all weekend long.
That's what I'm told. It will be on the website. Free website, James.
Free website, Jaguars.com. Check it out. Logs, you going to be with us all weekend? What's the story? Or just tonight?
I think tonight.
Okay.
Today, going to bounce around a little bit tonight.
Okay, love that. Yeah, you got radio tonight, right?
Yeah, radio tonight, and I think it's hop on Martineau a little bit, maybe even with you. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, wow. Love all that.
We'll see.
Jack of all trades.
I'm going to try. You know, look, I've been watching film. I've been watching film for months of these guys.
Yeah, might as well use your analysis.
Look, I'm looking forward to this draft just because, you know, when you spend time watching these guys, you really want to kind of see what your thoughts, kind of how they compare to the others, the true professionals. You know, I'm just a draft nick. That's all.
That's it. You're a whole lot more than that, Logs. You're a tremendous slouch. Don't worry.
Yeah, thank you.
Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by Dream Finders Homes, official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we are closing in 8 o'clock to start time. And if you're watching on Jaguars.com, a live look inside the Jaguars draft room at the Miller Electric Center. A busy night ahead. Enjoy.